How much time do kids spend on their phones? I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, and good child development, all through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're talking about phone usage. In this video, we're going to talk about how many hours, yes, it is hours a day that kids spend on average on their phones. But we're also going to be talking about what that phone usage does to them and what we can do to help them out. So I'm going to give you the number. And remember, this is an average, which means there are a lot of kids who are spending even more time than this on their phone for this to be the average. The average time that a child or youth is spending on their phones right now, and so this is also averaging all the ages, which tells you the older ones are really doing a lot probably because the youngers are not going to be doing as much, is 7 hours and 22 minutes per day. Whoa. I hope that hits you as heavy as it hits me. That is a ton. In fact, that is longer than most people spend doing all of their coursework and classes in a day for their school. This is as much time as many young people will have to sleep at night when they're in high school. So they're on their phone as much as they are sleeping. That's crazy. So what is this doing to them? We've got to talk about that. Why is it happening too? So why is it that children are on their phones so much? Well, honestly, parents are actually encouraging it. They're giving their children phones, but also the schools, the churches, all of the groups and clubs and sports teams that are working with the children, they're putting everything on the phones. So we're almost pointing the young people back to their phones again and again for the answers to everything. And oftentimes they're not getting together with friends because of their digital time that they're spending. They're actually spending their time talking to friends on their phones as well as doing all the other things. So that's kind of like their everything. But the sad thing is what it's doing to them. There are so many studies and statistics that are starting to emerge about what is happening with the youth brain on phones, okay? I know that we used to say, that it used to be when I was a child, they would say, this is your brain on drugs. And now people say, this is your brain on phones, and we're just recognizing we've got to disrupt this pattern here because children are having a hard time solving their problems because of their constant phone use. They're having a hard time maintaining and establishing new friendships and deep, more meaningful relationships. They're having a hard time with their mental health condition. The anxiety levels are going up, depression levels are going up, suicide levels are going up. Now, no one has necessarily put all of these things together, but I've now been teaching parenting for well over 20 years. I've been doing it now for 26 years. I've been teaching parenting. And in that time, I have seen drastic changes in the issues that parents are facing with their children. Also, children are falling away from their foundations, from their faith. They're having poorer character development, a poorer work ethic, there's laziness, there's obesity. There's a lot of things that are happening because children are living a more sedentary lifestyle. This sedentary lifestyle is directly linked to the phone. Now, I do acknowledge that there are great apps that track your steps and help you with your fitness and your health and all those kinds of things. But for a child, they're going to have to go to an app on the phone now. So one more thing on the phone that they're going to have to address if they use those apps. And just going to the phone for the solutions is also bringing about a trend that is really damaging to them, which is that they're not going to their parents a lot. They're not establishing good bonds and good connection and communication with their parents because they're going to their phones for everything, literally everything. So this is why we have this number of 7 hours and 22 minutes, which is an average number. And we know that there are many people doing a whole lot more. So we're going to talk in this video about what you can do to help your child decrease that phone time and still make them feel connected to the world around them. But first, see that button that says subscribe? Click on that button now so that you get more of an opportunity to see the content on this channel. So the children want to be on the phone so much because they feel like that's their connection to the world. This is the place where they go when they have a question they want to find an answer to. But we need to teach our children that it's people that they should be going to, people that they should be connecting with first before they start using digital technology. So phones are supposed to be tools, not toys. And I don't know if parents are making that clear to their children. In fact, maybe they are making it clear, but now there are so many tools on there that the children are basically bogged down with all the tools that they could be using. So first, make it clear to your children that this device, this phone that we happen to have, all of us in our pockets, is actually a tool. And we have to respect it, which means we have to plan how we're going to use it before we use it. That's just a self-government approach to anything that could suck you in. Because if I don't control this thing, then this thing is going to control me. Because it can. It has the full capability to do that. So then what you do is you tell the child, okay, so since it's a tool, what other tools do we know? Saws, hammers, knives, sharp objects, okay? We need to respect those. They have boundaries, right? So that's why we know we need to respect this tool as well. So how are we going to do that? So first we need to determine, okay, what are the top priorities of your life? Okay, if you were to put all your things in your life in top priority, what would you put as number one? They might say family or God or something, right? And you might even give them suggestions. We got God, family, school, friends, personal time, all that kind of stuff. What are the priorities? Let's put them in order, top priority to least priority, right? So then they do that. And normally at the top, it's always going to say something like family or God or school or something, okay? And so then you say, all right, now let's look at our hours in our day. How many hours do we spend on all these things? And by the way, you probably should add in there, well, what about phone? I mean, I guess it's not really a priority that much, right? So let's put it on the list, but okay. So then what we're going to do is we're going to do the hours in a day. Take out the sleep hours, take out the eat food with the family hours, because hopefully you're doing that. And then take all the other hours and budget them in to school, friends, family. And so family time is going to be the time where you're really actually connecting and talking to each other, not just being in the same house, okay? So you take all of those hours and you put them together, and then you say to your child, okay, well, does it look like our hours are matching up with our priorities? They're not. Our friends is a higher priority than our phones. I know sometimes we connect with our friends on our phones, but don't you think we should be having more real connection with friends? How are we going to make this adjustment? We've got to adjust the times. So then you're going to take your times and deliberately plug them in. And so maybe you'll do as many parents have done and said, okay, every afternoon from 4:30 to 5:30, you can do your social media, your texting, your, whatever it is that you're going to be doing. You need to do it in an area where there's still people around, but you can do that during that time. And otherwise, the rest of the day, it's not going to be time for that. And so they're scheduling times of the day to do those things. And then the other times of the day, they schedule in when they're going to actually talk with real people and do real things, which prepare them for real life, right? So another thing that you can teach your child is a skill set for how to be on a device for a certain period of time. So what they do is anytime they're going to be on the device, they actually say to another person, hey, so it might be the parent, hey, I'm going to get on my device now to check my email or to look at my texts. And I think I have probably about 5 texts, so it's probably going to take me maybe about 10 minutes to reply to everybody. So I'm going to set an alarm on my phone for in 10 minutes, but also if you could just make sure that you let me know like it's time to get off when you hear my alarm. Like if I don't, you're my check-in person. So they have an accountability person. It's kind of like when the alcoholic walks into a bar with his friends and it's like, I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to drink. Well, what does he do? He says to his friend, listen, I'm not drinking. You got this? I'm not drinking. I am going to make it so I don't drink. But if I get close to a drink, if I start picking one up without thinking, if I start ordering one, be like, hey buddy, you're not drinking tonight. And you make sure to remind me I need an accountability person. And so then they say, okay, I'll be your accountability person. This is what we do to help people with addictions. Why wouldn't we do it for a phone addiction too? Same thing. So what do you do then if your child ends up getting on the phone a lot, or you have a struggle with them getting on the phone without you knowing, or developing addiction even despite your best efforts? Well, then there are other steps that you need to take. On my website, teachingselfgovernment.com, I actually did an entire one-day training called Parenting in a Tech Sexual World. In this training, I go into more detail about what happens in the brain to the child, how to keep the child safe, how to help them decrease that addiction, how to help them when everybody else around them is doing the digital thing. So if you want a great comprehensive training on what you can do to help your child in the sexual and tech world, then definitely go and see Parenting in a Tech Sexual World at teachingselfgovernment.com, because that is going to give you more than I ever would have time for here. Click on teachingselfgovernment.com, find that training. I'll see you there.